So the next one is Jake Young, a player from Bradford City who Derby County appear to have potentially taken an interest in. Here's a player who has come under a lot of championship interest over the past 48 hours after a deal was agreed with Fleetwood for him to go and move there, but that deal seems to be a little bit stagnant at the moment after a result of this new interest that has come in. Shall we take a look into the links to Jake Young and if that deal is something which Derby County can get done? But if you have not done so already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell to stay tuned for everything that I'm going to be covering over deadline day and the rest of this season. We've obviously got League One and Championship matchday previews already out for this week, so make sure you go and check them out. But shall we now get into the video all about this link to Jake Young? Now, is Derby County the Championship club which Bradford striker Jake Young has attracted? I'm not entirely sure. There's no confirmation anywhere about who the Championship club is, but there is a few murmurs on the forum that Derby County are the club going after him, and a deal is potentially close for the striker to come and join Derby County. But obviously there has been bids accepted from League One clubs as well as Fleetwood Town over the course of the last few days. So if we just take a look at this report from Sky Sports, the latest from Sky Sports News, Bradford striker Jake Young is attracting late interest from Championship clubs. League One sides Crawley and Stevenage have already had bids accepted, but other clubs are now making inquiries with 3 days to go. Young scored 18 goals on loan at Swindon last season, but suffered an injury which kept him out for the rest of the season. The 23-year-old has 32 goals in his senior career so far. Now, if we do take a little bit of a deeper look into Jake Young, he's 23 years old, currently at Bradford. His contract expires in 2025. Now, an interesting thing I noted with Jake Young over the course of doing a bit of extensive research into him and his career is that he played with Ebou Adams and Kane Wilson during, I think it was Forest Green promotion season, which I think could be quite important for us if this is a deal we're trying to get over the line. Having that inside link with Ebou and Kane could be mega. We obviously used Kane Wilson to get Ebou here in January, so it could be another case of using our contacts within the squad to make deals happen. We've obviously done the same with James Collins across the course of the last few years as well, so it's going to be really interesting to see if this one does come through, because I do think, I'm not going to put pressure on Jake Young to come in and be the saviour that we need, but at 23 years old, if he's to come in permanently, which I think will be the deal, then I certainly think he could grow into a Championship striker, and that's obviously something which Paul Warne would be aiming to do with him in the squad. Now, if we look at his career so far, he's played for 5 clubs, Barrow, Swindon Town, Forest Green, Bradford, 123 appearances, 5,612 minutes, 32 goals and 6 assists in his short career, with 11 yellows and 0 reds. Now, if we take a deeper look into where those goals and appearances have come from, obviously 62 appearances, 12 goals, 2 assists for Forest Green, 26 appearances, 16 goals, 4 assists for Swindon Town, 4 goals in 18 for Bradford, and no goals in 17 for Barrow. Now, obviously you've got to take this all with a pinch of salt because he's still a young player, so these are sort of the years when he's breaking into the team, and obviously that's Swindon Town. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County and EFL Championship videos, which are going to be heading your way this season. We've obviously got the Championship and League One previews already out. They came out on Wednesday, so make sure you go and check those out. Check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next part of this video. Obviously, that Swindon Town goal scoring record that he's got is really, really good. So it's going to be interesting to see if he does come to Derby, if he's able to translate that. Now, if we then look at the positions he's played, he's obviously mainly a number 9, but he has played the left and right and in the number 10. So it is going to be really interesting to see how he's used at Derby County. Obviously, with the addition of someone like Jake Young, it could bring back sort of the 3-4-3 formation which Paul Warne's used before, or maybe even the 3-5-2 with the numbers that we'll have available then. Now, I'm not particularly a fan of it because I think you then have to put Mendes Lang in somewhere where he's ineffective, and the same with the likes of Caden Jackson. So it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. I think obviously a player like Jake Young could come into the squad and develop over the course of the next year, and I think it could be a really interesting deal for him as well as for us. Now, obviously we've looked at the striker position a lot over the course of this summer, and we're still looking at it really. With the signing of Jerry Yates early on in the summer, I felt like we were getting off to a good footing, but still having Collins and Dejon Brown and Washington, I still think there's a little bit more quality which needs to be added into that position. Obviously, I think Connor Washington's going to end up going out, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but I think Dejon Brown could be a big part of this deal in bringing Jake Young to Derby County, if there even is a deal to be looked at. So I think Dejon Brown's got a massive future ahead of him, and I think a loan spell to a League 2, League 1 club could be massive. So I think Bradford would be important if we could get that as part of a deal for Jake Young. I think that could be really important. We obviously know Jake Young would fit in. I think he'd go behind Jerry Yates though, if we were to play one. If we was to play two, I think the starting two would be Yates and Jake Young, if he was to come in, obviously. Now, what type of deal do I believe it could be? Now, judging by the fact that there's been bids accepted for League 2 and League 1 clubs over the past few days, I'd assume that if Derby County were to go in, it would certainly be a permanent deal. Now, Fleetwood Town were one of the teams that have had a bid accepted, and it looked as if he was going there. So it'll be very interesting to see what the funds are regarding this deal, and I think it could be one which Derby County could potentially afford. Now, as I mentioned about Dejon Brown, I think he could be really important in this deal, in sending him on loan to Bradford to sort of take Jake Young's position in sort of respect. So I think it could be a really, really interesting deal. If we can get him in for £200,000-300,000 and then send Dejon Brown the other way. Dejon Brown has an impressive season, and then we've got two young strikers who can progress with the club. Now, it's obviously very important to sort of note that a lot of these deals that I'm going to be talking about over the next few days won't necessarily be guaranteed. We know what positions Derby County need, and they're sort of the players that I'm sort of taking the most notice of, because there's been links to some wingers and things like that. But ultimately, I think if Paul Warne is serious about keeping Derby in the division, I think a number 9 and a centre-back are the two main positions which we need to focus on. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on those positions. I think Jake Young could be a really, really impressive signing for Derby County. I think obviously has only had a short career so far, and I think under the right guidance and with the right type of manager, the right type of players around him, I think he could be a really, really important player for Derby County, or for anybody in that fact. The big problem that I do see though is we don't create many chances, so it's going to be a case of, is he going to be able to stand up there and lead the line on his own, do the dirty work while we're sitting with 30-35% possession, and is that going to be frustrating, or is it going to help him? So we'll just have to see what happens with that one, but I think this deal could be a really, really good one. Now, that is striker number 2 on the list. We've got 2 more heading your way tomorrow. The match preview for Derby County versus Bristol City will be out later today. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. Let me know your thoughts on this deal down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.